undeceived. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war and night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war and night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok. Bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. The sound of arms, fierce morality, nightfall the rain, and the silence bleeds. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war and night. We have come into the night, thunder and rage in war and night. We'll fight for kings, for Ragnarok, sail war. Bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. Bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla. I can feel it in my veins, the warrior inside of me. Bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok, bringer up for Ragnarok. Welcome to Valhalla.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seer for Valhalla Esports Season 3, going into Week 8. I'm joined today by NBG Tactic. How you doing?
Chillin'.
Straight chilling. That's what we like to hear. We're going to go over the games from Week 7 and look ahead at the standings and the games to come for the final, or the second to last week of the regular season before we have our break before playoffs. Here we've got the first series from Week 7. So it was Titan Gaming Mox against the Kraken Slayers. And in classic Titan Gaming Mox fashion, there was a mix-up in the draft. So that Mordekaiser pick was really an Orin. Envious of Hardway's founder badge. Look at him. First subscriber, The Hardway, our first love of 30 days. But here in game 1, Titan Gaming Mox first picking the Ziggs. Kraken Slayers grabbing Fizz and Belveth in response. And then Titan Gaming Mox grabbing that Lover's Bot Lane in the Zyra Rakan. And Kraken grabbing the Caitlyn. Titan Gaming Mox had banned away the Swain, Echo, and Silas, and then banned away Lux and Seraphine. Kraken Slayer taking out Kaisa, Nyla, and Morgana, and now took out Hecarim and Shen. Zyra was the fourth pick for Kraken Slayers. Ornn Yi to round out Titan Gaming Mox, and the Urgot. Sorry, that Vigo should not be there. Let me hide it real quick. The Urgot was the final pickup for Kraken Slayers. How you feeling about these lineups, Tactic?
I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, the problem with Kraken Slayers draft is they don't have like innate initiation, excuse me. Um, so it's a little bit rougher for them to engage the enemy, and when you have Ziggs, Zaya, Rakan, that can be a problem. However, if they are allowed to enter a zone, they can control it rather well. Um, I think I like Titan Gaming Mox's draft a little bit more.
Yeah, they had the Orin for that nice engage, and then a lot of scaling to go along with that. They have IBGen, the Masters ADC player on the Zaya, a very strong and safe ADC, and then Bentage on that Ziggs he's been liking for the poke mage in the mid lane. And then Master Yi, who is their new pickup, I believe, for the jungle full time. I'm forgetting their name, but we'll see it in the score screen. And Yi is a champ he likes to play a fair amount. For the Kraken Slayer side, yeah, we have a lot of dive in, but a little bit tougher for us to get on them for the immediately engage. But we'll jump into the score screen, see how this game went. And TGM did indeed take game number one. IBGen popping off on that Zaya 11-2 and 8. And then SimGym, who was the new pickup, uh, did very well on the Yi, along with being enabled through the Orin items. Got any thoughts?
No. Based off the draft, I mean, that's kind of how I expected that to go, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure. It was still a little bit of a back and forth game. They got themselves close to the soul point, but each team got a Rift Herald, each team got a Baron. So still plenty of good fighting this game, but TGM came out on top. Here we will check out draft number 2, where kept the same sides. Titan Gaming Mox, Bandway, Swain, Echo, and Silas once again. We switched up our bands slightly, where we did Nyla, Kaisa, and then the Ziggs. First pick was the Morgana. Since they have Bentage that mid lane, we assumed he was going to run it, but is a good flex for them, could go to support. We decided to grab away the Lover's bot lane this time, got the Zyra Khan. Titan Gaming Box then got their Aphelios and Nautilus, and we grabbed the Udyr as our pick 3. Titan Gaming Box took out the Asol and Mordekaiser. We took away the Yi, didn't like it from game 1, and the Orin, since it's just very good at enabling the rest of the team. We then picked up Tristana on our side for the mid lane. They grabbed the Hecarim, which is another jungler SimGym likes, and the Shen for the top lane. And we grabbed the Gwen for the top lane as our final pick. This was my least favorite series. This was the best series. What do you mean, Gritter? Come on now.
Overall, I think the drafts are leveled up on both sides. Like Titan Gaming Mox's draft is really revolving around making sure Aphelios has the space to do what he needs to do. Whereas Kraken Slayer kind of added a lot more engage into their team. On top of you've got a heavy tank shredder and Gwen. So this draft is a lot better from both teams, in my opinion. I still like Titan Gaming Mox's team comp in general more. Just because if you play around the Aphelios correctly, he's gonna be able to just deal out ridiculous amounts of damage.
Yeah, for sure. They're very much the set of play around IBGen, let him get big, and we can win the game off the big ADC. But yeah, I agree. We drafted a little bit better with the Rakan for the engage and the Udyr for a little bit of tankiness. So we'll jump into the score screen, see how game number 2 went. And this one, Kraken Slayers took. We kept up our trend of going to game 3. This time going back to winning game 2. And this one, you see IBGen got huge, 17, 1, and 5 on that Aphelios. They got a Soul and a Baron. But I was able to become big enough for the sideline pressure where at one point they were going for an objective and I was able to split to victory and kind of save ourselves from finally losing a series without going to game 3.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, the only way you guys win with half the amount of kills that they do, is through side lane pressure. So,
Yeah,
mm,
I was a little stressed out by the end of this game. It was a tough one. But
no, I can definitely understand that if you're, because you are easily the strongest of the 5 members of your team, at least by the end of the game.
right.
Um, so it makes sense that a lot of the game was riding on what you're doing,
Yeah,
considering like
at the end I was going, we always make it to game 3. But we'll check out that draft as we jump into it. Here, sides got swapped on us. Titan Game Alex grabbed that red side. We banned away again the Kaisa, Nyla, and Ziggs. They took out Swain, Echo, and Silas once again. And we decided to first pick that Zaya. Didn't want to leave up the 1-2 for them to grab Zaya Rakan for the third game like they had done in the first game. They end up grabbing Rakan and the Morgana. We grabbed the Nautilus, the pair with Zaya and Seraphine. And then they grabbed the Zeri for the ADC. We took out the Ian Orn once again, worked game 2, may as well try it again, and they took out Mord and Gwen this time. They grabbed Sejuani for the jungle. I picked up Garen for top and Trundle for the jungle for Pharaoh, and then set top to finish out the Titan Gaming Box draft.
from a draft perspective, this is a lot more even. Um, this is tough.
Yeah, it's a
I
little less
think I,
safety than they had in games 1 and 2.
I think I
Now, Flame, this is the
still,
first series.
I still think I like Titan Gaming Mox's draft a little bit more.
Yeah, it's
Again,
not
it's another situation where they just have so many tools to provide space for their ADC to do things.
right. They have a little bit less of that safety, but the similar idea and like plenty of peel from Morg, Rakan, and Sedge, and then Set can ult someone away. Uh, and then Zeri just surfing over walls and everything. But we took the Zaya. We felt she was pretty strong in this matchup between us. And
Okay.
then I felt comfy blinding the Garen. Figured I could match up to what I thought Fixer was going to play. And the Trundle pickup was nice because he does well into Sejuani. But jump into the score screen, see who took the series. And we were able to take it on the side of Kraken Slayers. Uh, Console, myself, and Critter and Pharaoh all did pretty well. Got to get some leads in our lanes. IBGen still got 9 kills, but didn't get as large as games 1 and 2. And we're able to somewhat methodically close this one out once we got the leads. They were ahead on drags, but couldn't get the soul, and we closed out after we got a Baron. Any series you can get a W is a good series. That is true. But well played to Titan Gaming Box. This was definitely a very close series and one I'd like to get streamed. Maybe not this week, but when we have that break in between regular season and the playoffs, I might look to get some of the older games streamed, so we don't have 2 weeks of dead air. So keep an eye out for those. Here we'll jump into the second series, which is Donger Squad versus Velocity Gaming. You want to run through these drafts?
So for Donger Squad, our first round of bans are Samira, Shaco, Yumi. Cat shouldn't even exist in the game, but you know.
True.
Uh,
It's because now Velocity Gaming got taken over by Buim Satan, so she jumped on the team along with, I'm forgetting who else she picked up, if someone could tell me in the chat. But they got 2 new players because Wheel Poco had to drop due to schedule change.
In my opinion of
Eli
Boo's
Man, thank you.
champions, I would ban Soraka over Yumi, but that's just my personal opinion. But it also kind of depends on what their ADC pool is.
Right,
And
right.
then on Velocity Gaming, their first round of bans are Ziggs, Rammus, and Darius. We have first pick of Seraphine, followed by Vi and Oriana. And Velocity Gaming went with Nunu, Soraka, and Zaya. And then we have our second round of bans being Lux, Vigar, Poppy, and Camille. Um, the Camille is definitely targeted at Mind's Desire.
Yeah,
I didn't know he played Poppy, to be fair. Um, and then they picked up Yone, Leona, and then Velocity picked up Vel'Koz and Ornn.
yep.
This is another tough one because Donger Squad has a lot of like Wombo, but Velocity Gaming has the potential to have a lot of tempo in the game. Whenever you have Nunu, if you are able to get objective tempo, it's really difficult to get him off of that tempo if he's playing it correctly. That's just my
Right.
personal opinion.
Yeah, it's very good at just snowballing to lanes, causing havoc, and trying to pick up those kills. We want to see how they did. They had the late change and Boo and Eli Man getting on the team, so didn't have too much time to get the new practice in and that synergy. But I agree. It's kind of both teams like to fight a lot. Donger Squad has a better wombo, but you got plenty of catch and damage potential with the Ornn, Vel'Koz, Zaya. But let's see how game number one went. Looking like game one went the way of Donger Squad. Montblanc going unkilled game one, 4-0-13. Mine's getting pretty big on that Yone. Kind of doing the Zeus plan of get a level lead so you get innately more tanky and just become a monster.
It's honestly impressive to go unkilled as Leona just because of how your playstyle ends up working. It's
Yeah,
just that alone is impressive that you're able to go unkilled as Leona.
I think it does help. They did the Leona Seraphine bot lane, so had a little bit of extra shielding and healing there.
Yeah, it definitely helps, but regardless, like in laning phase, that makes perfect sense. But once you get to team fight phase, things get a little bit more chaotic, and especially when you have like a Vel'Koz that can do true damage to you, it gets a little rough. But very impressive to not die once.
True that, but we'll play them. Also, Blitzkrieg calling out Eli Man and Boo coming off one of the practice squads. Yeah, if you're newer or you're just on the sub list and you want to get some games in, jumping on one of the practice teams is a good way to do it. And it's also a good way to get your name out there. So either getting subbed in or in subsequent seasons, you'll have a better likelihood of getting picked up for the full season. But we'll jump into draft number two for this series.
All right, for Donger Squad, same first three bands, didn't change any. But Velocity Gaming changed up their first three bands. We got Ziggs, Yone, and Darius. Um, Donger Squad opted into Seraphine, Zac, Oriana for their first three. Velocity Gaming getting Karthus, Scion, and Soraka. Second round of bans were Lux, Vigar, Fiora, and Camille. And we got Star Walkin'.
Star walking.
Thank you, thank you. And Ash, along with Vel'Koz and Set. This, I mean, Donger Squad is clearly drafting to Wombo combo again. Uh, um, Velocity Gaming it seems like they opted into more of a scaling route, but it's very AP heavy is the problem.
Right.
Um, all Cassante and Zach really need to do is by an early force of nature, and a lot of their damage is kind of negated.
Yeah,
Like,
you could do like Force of Nature or Abyssal Mask and end up just staying alive forever. Also,
yeah,
Cassante is nice into set because you build tanky but end up doing damage anyways, so it kind of counters them in both ways.
Yeah, Abyssal Mask is definitely more gold efficient, and it powers up your Oriana and Seraphine. So to be fair, Force of Nature or Abyssal Mask in this scenario is perfectly viable.
Yeah, and for this one, it's in the score screen, so they did the Seraphine carry and the Ash support. So Covert Panda's been liking that Seraphine. We'll check out the score screen, see who took down game number 2. And it went the way of Donger Squad. They won this series 2-0, getting a big Panda and big Mind Desire on that Cassante. Looking like uh, still went to 35 minutes, so still had a little bit of fighting, but lost 3 dragons to the other side, but were able to pick themselves up 2 barons and close out this game. So well played to them, and hoping with the new changes, Velocity will be able to get a little bit of practice in this week and hopefully get themselves a couple wins as we come to the end of the season. Also, before we go to Series 3, anybody out there watching, we appreciate you being here. If you got a Prime sub or just are enjoying it, want to toss us a sub our way, we always appreciate it. It helps support the league overall, and we will love you for at least 30 days. Uh, Series number 3 was Titan's Wrath against Night Raid Owls. Here, Titan's Wrath on the blue side for game number 1, NRO on the red side. Titan's Wrath banned away the Shyvana, Gwen, and Lilia, doing the classic ban away all of Kidbu's champion draft strategy. Night Raid Owls took out Rel, Alawi, and Poppy, taking away the Poppy from KB. I'll sub to you if you sub to me. Okay. Yeah, we can sub to each other. We can have some fun. Send it our way, Flame. And then Titan's Wrath grabbed the Jinx first pick. Kitten's been liking that as her carry, so definitely one they like to pick up early if it's available. Night Raid went the Swain Nautilus, and then the Maokai Sona pickup for Titans. Maokai still a nice flex. Can send it top, can send it jungle, so good pickup there. And then the Yone for NRO bans the Evelyn and Elise on the side Titan's Wrath, the Renekton and Rammus for NRO. They pick up the Wukong, close out Titan's Wrath with Victor and Zac, and then Aurelia to round out the draft. Got a lot of engage / wombo on the side of NRO for this one. More scaling and looking for the later team fights / disruption on the side of Titan's Wrath. Who are you favoring?
honestly, it's kind of up to how the early game goes. Um, because if Irelia and Yone are able to get to their item spikes faster than Titan's Wrath, it kind of negates the scaling factor because those two champions are very volatile.
Right.
Um, it's I like both drafts. Like both drafts are super strong. It honestly is kind of dependent on how you just play the early game.
Yeah, for sure. Also, it's very dependent. Like, do you get Jinx to 2.5 to 3 items where she's that hyper carry, or does the game go south and you never come online?
Yeah, if you it always feels bad if you're Jinx and it's like 20 minutes into the game and you're still stuck on 2 items. Just because of constant gank pressure and stuff like that. I've been in that situation a few times, and it just feels super bad because you just don't feel like a champion at all.
Right, right. But we'll see how this game 1 shaped out. And looks like it went the way of Titan's Wrath. Kitten did indeed come online with that 12-3-15 along with Akali on that Victor. Yes, Akali also getting picked up from Titan's Wrath, I believe. This was the first week he was subbed in, if I'm correct. I believe I'm correct. But doing very well. Also, Trinity unkilled on the Sona, despite starting the game with the same HP as a caster minion. Well played there.
Yeah, that's kind of insane when you have a Swain Nautilus bot lane that
Right.
have a lot of CC. Being able to not die in that lane is pretty impressive.
She was just out there with the happy feet saying, nope, nope, can't hit me.
But
But
to be fair, yeah, it is kind of hard to hit Sona if they're playing the spacing correctly.
right, but well played to them. We'll check out what changes NRO wanted to go with on draft number 2. Looking like the same sides were kept. And our bro, as they're called in this one. But keeping the same bands on the side of Titan's Wrath. Had that Shyvana, Lilia, Gwen, and also Elise, Evelyn again. So just all the way through 5 banning Kid Buu. Love to see it. Looks like the only update for NRO was adding the Zac to the ban list. So Poppy, Alawi, and Zac. Again, the first pick of the Jinx. Still feeling pretty comfortable on that one. KB might have been getting tipsy as I made these draft lobbies. I could believe it. Sounds like your team when it's what you, Boomstick, and Kitten just having a good time. But then the Mayokai Ash picked up for NRO, Rel and Nami for Titan's Wrath, and the Yone once again wanted to go back to it. Looked like he had a pretty good game 1 despite the loss. So I respect trying to run it back, saying, "No, I got this." Then the bans once again for NRO, Renekton and Annie. We already looked at Titan's Wrath, same as game 1. The Diana getting picked up, Volibear, Malzahar for Titan's Wrath, and Kennen to finish up NRO. I'm liking these again. Another set of teams that really like to fight a lot. A ton of CC on both sides, and some good wombos once again on the side of NRO.
Yeah, I really like NRO's draft because it's very versatile in what it can do. It can either disengage, engage pretty effectively. Titan's Wrath, it's kind of a mixed bag where most of it is peel, and there's like a slight dash of engage there.
Right.
I would personally favor NRO's draft in this particular scenario.
Yeah, I agree. Each champion kind of has an engage button, so if anyone ever sees someone to pick off, you can go. And again, it's I think the main carry still is just the Jinx and the Titan's Wrath here, so you're just very much relying on her to pop off. So we'll see if she could do it again, or if this was taken to a game number 3. And it's looking like NRO did indeed take game number 2. Nile popping off of that cannon, 6-0 and 6. Well played. Kid Buu looking pretty good on that Diana. And then, okay, so they put Yone mid this time. Was playing the support Yone with the 9 assists, and Yukahu doing well on the Ashe. Well played to them. Full objective controls as well, so looking like a little bit of a dominant game with a 22-minute, or I guess about 23-minute victory, but still a very quick one in game number 2. Top was even till I did TP and Kennen got a triple kill. Yeah, you hate to see that. Try and TP to help
baby,
your
a
team,
triple kill.
and Kennen just reaps all the rewards. But you had the right idea. You wanted to help out your team, and sometimes that's what's important. But it was sending y'all to game number 3, so we'll check out draft for game number 3. See if you guys changed up anything in the bands. Looks like you did, and you also switched sides. This time, Night Right Hoots. Yeah, KB was getting a little tipsy, we can see. And Titties Wrath. Alright, NRO and Titan's Wrath swapping sides. NRO banning away Zac, Poppy, Alawi once again. Titan's Wrath took out the traditional Shyvana, Lilia Gwen. Looks like an Ashe. The Maokai first pick for Night Raid Owls. Still a very good first pick champ, just super flexible and pretty easily blindable. Titan's Wrath grabbing the Ziggs and a Jarvan. Then the Ashe and Diana to round out the first three picks, and the Blitzcrank for Titan's Wrath, going for those big hooks. This time taking away Renekton and Taric. KB saying they banned away my Taric. That's quite rude of them. I didn't even know Taric was one of your go-to champions, KB, so I guess the more you know.
Taric top actually is pretty strong in certain matchups.
Taric top's really strong as long as you can melee and get all your heals off and hit your stuns. So yeah, it's very dependent on the matchup, but can pop off pretty well. This time, since Diana was picked early, actually banning away other champs, banned away the Yone and the Echo, and then picking up Tristana, Night Raid Owls finishing out with Akali and Cassante, and then the Shen for Titan's Wrath. How you feeling about the lineups?
So I'm noticing a trend as KB gets more tipsy, the draft gets slightly worse.
Well, it might not have only been KB. Might have been a couple people.
It's not a trash draft. I'm just gonna say that. But I still NRO's draft is really good. Team effort for sure. Everybody's drinking, having a good time. I respect it. I'm not judging. I respect that. I'm just pointing out what I'm observing. But yeah, NRO's draft is better than Titan's Wrath. It's kind of a mixed bag again of what the team wants to do. You got some poke champions, you got some pick champions, got a little bit of split push in there. Not super consistent like what the team identity is.
Right. But they do have some nice power picks, and like Ziggs, he always deals out a lot of damage if you're playing safe. Just does well generally. Jarvan's still a very strong jungler. And then Trist is very jump in, jump out of team fights, pick up kills where you can, and Shen can just ult to save any teammates. So I kinda get the idea, but NRO has a ton of just, hey, we want to go in, and again, most of us can go in, so I do like that draft, but let's see who took the series. And it goes to Titan's Wrath. They took the Tipsy draft, and they said, we're going to win with it. Kitten on the Ziggs, 8-3-13. KB doing well on that Shen, 8-4-13. Very close to matching Kitten, just died one more time. And then Boomstick and Trinity out there providing the support, along with the support Tristana. Looking like they just got ahead early, got all the objectives, and closed it out in 33 minutes.
Maybe what we learned here is it's more important to have fun with your friends instead of having a strong draft, maybe?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
And then NRO, right after these games, before the trade deadline, had dropped. God, who was it? It was their top and mid laner for Perfy and blank. Somebody else. Who was it, Blitz? You can tell me. Mockingbird. Yeah, you're right. It was Mockingbird. They picked up Perfy and Mockingbird, so they got a little bit of a new lineup for weeks 8 and 9. Watch out for them. TTV. I don't know what you mean. Nah, it was Mockingbird, I'm pretty sure.
TTV is Twitch TV.
Did you know Twitch.tv is just .tv because they paid some random country to get their country code so it would say TV? I learned that the other day, and I find it pretty funny. It's actually the way that country makes a lot of its money, because their country code is .tv for the internet.
Funny joke.
The next series we're supposed to look at is Stoner Nation versus Goat Kings, but I see Flame still hasn't subbed to us, and he said he would, so I'm feeling a little hurt. Maybe I'm just gonna have to skip that one. I don't know, man. It's your play, Flame. Come on now.
Maybe you should like sprain your wrist like Faker, you know?
Yeah. My wrist. I can't make it. My MFing goat Mockingbird. Yeah, he's back. He's been asking Kid Buu to bring him back, and he finally pulled the trigger right before the deadline. You want to run through these drafts?
If I have
Wait,
to.
I'm driving. All right, fine.
Anyway.
I'll wait since you're driving.
Oh, okay.
Still typing in
okay.
chat though. I see.
Well, you get at least 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, send it.
Do. I'm waiting for Flame. It's his fault. Anyway. Alright. Stoners Nation, we've got our first round bans of Vi, Swain, Seraphine, with Goat Kings banning away Jarvan, Camille, Aatrox. Stoners Nation picked up Pantheon, Thresh, and Zaya. Goat Kings picked up Rel, Ziggs, and Graves. Second round of bans, Stoners Nation banned Zac and Set. Goat Kings banned Gwen and Evelyn. For Stoner Nation's second round of picks, we got Diana and Jax. Goat Kings picked up Trundle and Ornn.
Shout out to Blitzkrieg Pyro was subbed in for Goat Kings for this game since Hardway was unavailable.
Shoutouts. In this particular draft, I think Stoner Nations had the better draft. You got a lot of scaling and early game pressure. But Goat Kings have a really good team fight if Graves is able to get enough items. Because I know Graves has like significant item spikes in the games.
Yeah, I
that
I
I've seen.
agree. I think Stoner Nation has that early game pressure, but if it goes to mid to late, you get the Ornn items and you get a lot of scaling on the side of Goat Kings, and it could become very favored for them if they just get past the early aggression point.
Yeah, if you get into like past 30 minutes, then it kind of comes down to what can Jax do, because Graves could just kind of starts one-shotting people at some point, and it gets kind of really rough. So just kind of depends on how it ended up playing out.
Is this a new sub thing? Where'd this goat come from? My goodness, that's a great goat emote. Perfect for the Goat Kings, really. But yeah, like it's also one where you're picking the Ornn very much for the team fight and for the team. Ornn's not great into Jax because he can just kind of auto trade with you early while using E, and you can't do much to him. But again, you get to late game, you've got the nice engage with the ultimate and just empower your teammates with the Ornn ornaments. So let's see if the pressure was too great or Goat Kings weathered the storm and took game number one. Looking like they did. Deity, as you said, getting very large. One-shotting people. Envy the Reaper, 9-0 and 11, unkillable in the Trundle. Just ulting people and running them down, I assume. Salt doing pretty well. Had to go down like 50 farm, but doing his job. Didn't die too much and became that tanky engage boy.
Sometimes that's just kind of how it is. If you're in the weak side matchup, you just kind of have to accept that you're going to be at a deficit. And Ornn's a great champion to be at a deficit just because you're gonna be useful regardless.
He also upgraded Deity's item first, so you know, just upgrading your OP laner win the game Easy
No,
peasy.
no, Salt's just a simp. That's what I'm hearing.
Hey, thank you, Flame, for the subscription. We will love you for at least 30 days. Graves caught me off guard by laning top. Yeah, it's pretty rude of you, dude. You're not supposed to mess up the top island.
Yeah, if yeah, Dee Dee's such a
Welcome now.
advocate
Welcome now.
for don't come top. Top is not the place. That's pretty disrespectful of you, Deity, to
That's
be
just why he
honest.
took over the top lane, so then he could be on the top island. But we'll
He's
save
like,
the Goat Kings for
I
game
get
one.
ganked so often, I'm gonna show the top laner how it feels for
Right.
once.
Here, we'll check out draft for game number 2, see how Stoner Nation wanted to change it up to try and take the series to a game 3.
Alright, so Goat Kings kept their uh draft fairly similar for the bans. We banned Aatrox, Camille, Jarvan, Stoner Nations banned Graves, Pantheon, Swain. For Goat Kings, they picked up Rel, Ziggs, Vi. Stoner Nation picked up Zaya, Rakan, and Maokai. Second round of bans, we banned Gwen, Lux, and I'm having a brain fart. Silas and Nefiri. And we picked up Malphite, Tryndamere, and Yon Malzahar. Um,
Thank you, Salt, for the Prime subscription. We will love you also for at least 30 days.
I think the draft for Goat Kings really is dependent on how much pressure Tryndamere is able to apply in the side lane. Just because if we assume that Tryndamere is split pushing, the 4v4 is better for Stoner's Nation, in my opinion. Um, but that's making a lot of assumptions on how they played like the mid to late game.
Yeah. Um, very much damage centric on like Tryndamere and Ziggs, and if they don't get big enough, Maokai can kind of negate Tryndamere pretty well if you go tankiness or go tanky enough. Oh, thank you for play. Hailstorm is cute. I appreciate it, and thank you for the Prime sub. We'll love you for at least 30 days. Star Nation also had the Lover's bot lane, so a lot of extended abilities on their end. And like Malzahar just hold someone in place. So I think Okings kind of need to get Ziggs very big if they want to win this one. But we'll
Yeah,
see how it
it
looks.
kind of yeah, it definitely hinges on where Vi decides to divide her pressure or in the early game because Vi has really strong early ganks. So if she gets Tryndamere, Ziggs ahead early, then Goat Kings have a really strong chance of closing it out pretty quickly.
True, but let's see if they took it 2-0 or if we went to game number 3. And looking like Stone Nation took this one. Flame getting really large on that Yone. Getting that level lead 3 levels up on the Salt. The classic Zaves play once again. Boosted also doing very well. He was into the deity Tryndamere, but looks like he negated it pretty well. So well played to them, forcing us into the silver scrapes for game number 3. Also took 2 Barons to win this game, so prevented the soul take and got themselves all the rift objectives and took the victory. But here is draft number 3. Flame
Oh.
negated me pretty well. Flame was just paying you back for game number 1. Apparently, he said you came to my lane. I'm gonna come to your lane, dude.
Stoner's Nation opted into banning Graves, Swain, Pantheon. Goat Kings banned Jarvan, Camille, Aatrox, keeping it pretty similar to the previous games. Stoner's Nation picked up Zaya Brahm. What does that say?
Morgana, sorry. I tried to keep a trend of writing it diagonally, but Morgana had more letters, so it was hard to keep it even.
The G is a little funky.
Yeah,
Okay, Morgana.
it got a little funky, but I was getting to the point where I'm like, I just want to be done with this.
Fair enough.
This
All
week
right.
was the week of having mess ups in the draft.
Yeah, apparently, and this is definitely not the first team that did it, so that makes sense. Goat Kings picked up Yon, Maokai Ziggs. Second round of bans, we got Trundle, Rel, and Sejuani Gwen. Second round of picks, we have Malzahar, excuse me, Renekton, and Nocturne Ornn. Uh, this is another tough one. I think Goat Kings have the better draft due to ornaments.
Yeah, they got those ornaments. They got a ton of engage also, just with the Mayo Nocturne combo, and like probably slight spoilers in the chat, but Flame saying I trolled by not first picking Yon, and Deity saying, yeah, I'm so hyped you didn't. So I'm assuming Deity had a pretty good game on the Yone. As far as Stoner Nation, just set up to try and negate having the Orin into the Renekton is a lot nicer since uh, you can fight him a lot better than game number 1 where it was the Jax. Yone into Malzahar, you can break his shield pretty well and all in on him, but we'll see for sure. But let's see who took game number 3. And it was indeed the Goat Kings. Deity going 12, 7, 7, Reaper 8, 3, and 14, and Beard 7, 4, and 14. Well played again. Looks like they actually got the Elder as well. Game went to 45 minutes, so a long fought game. Still could have gone either way. Flame trying his best 10, 3, and 12, but not being on a late game carry couldn't close it out for him, and Goat Kings take the series. I can't lose that move. Renekton Orm for me is probably my best. Oh, okay. If that's what you like, then I'll take it. You did kill him more this game, so you did do better technically, but didn't do well enough to win the series, unfortunately. And well played, Go Kings. Now we'll jump into series number 5 for week 7, which was Ultra Lords versus the Hung Young Gays, or HYG. I'm undefeated on it to Broken Champ. True. Yone is kind of busted, as we saw in Worlds. But here we had Ultra Lords on the blue side are still, at least up until this week, undefeated team in the league, the only remaining one. And then HYG, one of the teams that's been lagging behind last week in the prediction poll, actually had 100% predictions for Ultra Lords for the win. So we'll see if they could upset everyone's predictions. Bans, Ultra Lords took away Swain, Silas, and Aurelia. HYG took out Maokai, Ziggs, and Jinx. First pick being the Zaya for Ultra Lords. HYG grabbed the Nyla and Tarek, leaving up Rakan to be snagged along with the Garen, who is one of Delta Centurion's comfort picks. And the Teemo Answer, hoping to poke out that Garen in the top lane. HYG banned away Syndra and Kassadin. Ultralords took out Yorick and Oriana. Ultralords getting Cassiopeia and Lee Sin. Even more comfort. Just, I feel like comfort down the board, if not just the bot lane, but a very strong bot lane, even if it's not their comfort picks. HYG grabbing LeBlanc and Nocturne. I feel like this is just very much an Ultralords draft diff. How you feel?
Yeah, who's letting Kazuto have Snake Lady? Who did this?
Yeah, we let them have it in our game 3, and it was not a fun time. So we'll see if they were able to deal with it, but definitely a very tough one. Everybody in the chat is talking about how Hullbreaker and Yone are busted. Love to see it. Also very true. But let's see the score screen. Was HYG able to upset? Looking like no. In a 27-minute game, Kazuto getting very large, 9, 4, and 5. Plenty of kills for Delta Zabel and Mami Senpai as well. Mabra actually doing pretty well on the Teemo, but team was behind, couldn't get any objectives, and lost game number 1 to HYG. We'll see how HYG adjusted the draft for game number 2. This time going on the blue side. HYG banned away Zaya, Syndra, and Maokai for round 1. Ultralords took out Swain, Silas, and Ziggs. Lux being the first pick for HYG. Ultras went Seer and Cassante. Blitz and York for HYG, and then Jax for Ultralords. Next round of bans, taking away the Snake Lady, definitely a good idea, and Xerath. Ultralords took out Ari and Aatrox. Then Alistar picked up for Ultralords, Fiddlesticks and Vigar rounded out HYG, and the Karthus last pick for Ultralords. Is that a Jungle Karthus or a Jungle Jax?
I'm assuming it's Jungle Jax,
Yeah,
but I could be wrong.
I think that's correct, but I'm not 100%. We'll see once we get to the score screen.
This draft is a little bit more interesting, but the main problem from HYG is they don't really have a consistent damage threat for the tanks. They have a lot of burst damage, but once their burst window is gone, it's pretty pretty open season for Ultra Lords.
Yeah, like Fiddlesticks go Leandries to try to burn down the tanks, but your only AD is coming from Yorick, who really wants to be split pushing anyways. But if they do get ahead, we've seen that Lux Blitzcrank do very well when it was Junie and Ray wasn't piloting it, so we'll see how the bot lane went for them, if they can get any picks on this Ali Severe. And then it is a lot of scaling for Ultralords, so I think if HYG just pushes early to mid and can find a leads / end the game, they have a chance to take this game number 2. But jumping into the score screen and see, they did indeed. They took down Ultralords for game 2, forcing it to the Silver Scrapes game 3. Jack's getting pretty big, along with Mami Senpai, but having 9 kills on Vigar, 7 and 6 on Fiddle and Yorick, just had enough damage. This game went super late, 45 minutes, with Ultralords actually getting the soul, but a Baron apiece. So definitely would be an interesting one to watch. Looks very back and forth, and eventually HYG took it to force the series point game.
I'm a little confused as to opting into the Cassante jungle. I feel like his clear wouldn't be that great.
Oh yeah, it was Cassante. That was the one option I didn't put out there.
Well, I would understand not thinking of it because his jungle clear is not good.
No hull breaker in playoffs. True. Yeah, playoffs are gonna be interesting when we're on the preseason for next season of league, while all the items are gonna be ridiculous. So yeah, get in your hull breaker abuse while you can. It was tough to be able to pick that last patch. Yeah. But here we go into game 3. See how this final draft went for the series. Ultralords black on the blue side, HYG on the red side. Ultralords took out Swain, Fiddlesticks, and York. Did not want to see Fiddle or York once again, so assuming there were issues in game number 2. HYG took out Zaya, Ziggs, and Maokai. Ultralords grabbing that Drink's first pick. HYG grab Nico Ramus. Ultralords get Thresh and Garen going back to that comfort in the top lane, and the Lilia to round out the first 3 picks. Lux and Ashe banned away by Ultralords. Cass and Syndra once again from HYG. Had the Kayn pick up for the jungle. Well, actually, that might be a lane Kayn because they have a Rammus. This is a very odd pick. They have like 3 junglers on the side of HYG. Ori Jarvan for Ultralords and Vigar to round out the HYG draft.
I'm assuming it's a. Hold on, let me cook. It's
Who's cooking?
It's a Nico.
You're cooking almost as much as the HYG was.
It's Nico Vagar bottom. Lilia mid. Kayn jungle and Rammus jungle.
Yeah. Did you say 2 jungles?
Did I?
Did you say Lilia
Rammus
jungle?
top. Rammus top, Lilia mid
Yeah,
is Kayn jungle, and Nico and Vigar bot.
Is it tried and true? If we don't know what we're doing, they don't know what
Li-
we're doing. True.
Listen, double jungle was pretty viable for like a minute, and then they nerfed it. So
If only it wasn't against our rules to do it, you know? OP. But yeah, let's see what they did. Ultralord's draft's pretty standard for them. Just a lot of strong carries, a lot of strong scaling. We'll see if the weirdness from HIG took them down. And it looks like it did not. 12-0-10, 11-0-4, 2 unkillables for the side of Ultralords in the mid and top lane. They had the Kayn jungle, Lilia top, Vigar mid, and the Nico Rammus bot lane.
that was close.
Pretty close. Top useless, just double jungle. True. I can report that to be factual. But well played to Ultralords, remaining undefeated. Have 2 more weeks left if they want to make it through the regular season undefeated. And we'll be going into the final series of Week 7, which was our streamed games, which was Bomba Bros against Los Nomadas. If you want to see any of the action from these games, check out the VODs, check out the YouTube. We got them posted. And we'll go through this one a little quicker since you can go watch it if you want to. But Bomba Bros blue side, Los Nomadas red side. Bomba Bros had the Amumu, Zaya, Rakan, Vex, Kled, using their first pick to pick away the Amumu, which is a champ Bulgaria likes to use a lot. But Los Nomadas grabbing Lux Blitz, which was their bot lane. Junior likes those AP carries on the bot. Had the Tryndamere, Shyvana, and Singed. And end up tossing that Tryndamere mid lane since they had the Singed top and the Shyvana jungle. How you feeling about this one?
I agreed with Deity. They botched the all Yordle comp. Unlucky. It was a botched draft for sure.
Yeah, I thought
This,
Zaya and Rakan were Yordles anyway, so they got there.
Bomba Bros has a really good like all in comp where basically everybody wants to go forward minus the Zaya, but that's fine if everybody's going forward. She can kind of do what she needs to do. Los Nomadas does have a lot of comfort champions though.
Oh, they're cooking. Yeah, they have a ton of comfort. Omega the Reaper has been really liking that Singe top. Shyvana, a classic go-to for Bulgaria. Tryndamere, one of the carry champs that Snurbops actually likes to play, as opposed to the support mids. And then Blitz Lux, classic bot lane for Ray Wilson and Junie. But let's see how game number 1 went.
Listen, Deity, if Bopsy has anything to say about it, they're always cooking. All the time.
True. Game number 1 did go to Los Nomadas. Watching this one, the early game actually went really well on the side of the Bomba Bros. But the scaling slash just the annoyance of team fights with the Singed in it worked out for Los Nomadas, where they came back in that kind of later mid game and won out in the late game, uh, netting themselves 3 dragons, where it was 3-3 on both sides, but they got both the barons and were able to win out game number 1. Here in draft number 2, Bomber Bros blue side, Los Nomadas red side. Bomber Bros grabbing Amumu, Zeri, Zillion, Zerath, and Set. Los Nomadas grabbing Zaya, Thresh, Karma, Hecarim, and Singed. Going back to that supportive mid lane, the Karma that Snarbopsy is so very well known for.
This draft is a little bit tougher to call which one is stronger. I think I like Bomba Bros a little bit better.
Yeah, the Zillion's always really annoying just with his ultimate and being able to keep people alive. Long ranged damage from Zerath, and a pretty good frontline in Set Amumu. As long as Zeri gets big, can dash around those team fights, do a lot of damage. Still a fair amount of comfort for Los Nomadas, though Hecarim's a newer champ for Bulgaria to me. One I think he's played some, but not really his go-to, I would say. And then actually having an AD carry in the bot lane, weird for Los Nomadas. We'll see if they were able to win out this game number 2, or if it went to the Silver Scrapes. And looking like they did indeed lose game number 2. Junie still huge, 17, 4, and 6, but Dr. Derek and Fluffy also very large with the 16 kills and then 15 and 13 assists. This time, the Soul actually went to Los Nomadas, but both Barons going to Bomba Bros, ending the game a little after 37 minutes. Yep, Junie was trying to 1v9, but couldn't quite get there. But going into Silver Scrapes game number 3, had Los Nomadas on the blue side, Bomba Bros on the red side. Had the Lux, Blitzcrank, back to the Shyvana, Pantheon, and Kale for Los Nomadas. Bomba Bros grabbed the Zeri once again, Jarvan, Zyra, Syndra, and the Kled. So, still a lot of team fighting for the Bomba Bros. Hoping Zeri can pop off once again. For Los Nomadas going back to their AP carrying the bot, the Shyvana for just hyperscaling in the jungle, and hoping the Pantheon can ult around, help get the other lanes ahead, and of course late game Kale just being terrifying.
Yeah, I think Bomba Bros had the better draft again. Los Nomadas draft is very dependent on meeting certain criteria. Like Pantheon has to have a good impact mid to early to mid game, and Kale needs to be able to exist long enough.
Right. So we'll see if she got to exist or if Bomber Bros took him down. Looking like Los Nomadas pulled off the game 3 victory, going to 33 minutes. Kale making it to level 17, so becoming that ridiculous champ post level 16. Got themselves a soul and a baron. And again, this one, Bomba Bros kind of had that early lead. The Kled from Evbot was getting really far ahead early, but just got kind of turned around on them in the mid to late game, where Los Nomadas brought it back and got the victory in the end. So well played to them for taking the series. Sire pick a bit weird here. Yeah, it's a little odd one to have with Zeri who wants to dive in, but that's what they were feeling. Here we can jump into the standings currently. We see Donker Squad still sitting top of Anaheim, have a one series lead over the other two. So if they win one of the next 2 weeks, they should secure their first place. Jotunheim still very close. Titans Wrath and Kraken Slayers tied in series wins, but separated by one game within those series for the points. In Midgard, Ultralords, still the undefeated team, have secured their at least first place spot within the region, and I believe if they win one game, then they will maintain that first place playoff seeding. They just have to win one of the games these next 2 weeks. And in Helheim, Goat Kings holding number one, but one game behind them, Los Nomadas, so still up for grabs there. And then 5 through 6, just getting populated by the next 4 highest teams. So currently, Los Nomadas, Titans Wrath, Bomber Bros, and Titan Gaming Mox. Though those, as you can see, are still very wide open. If you're getting some wins in these series, you have the potential to make that playoff run. Just got to win some games in these next 2 weeks. Flame calling out the eighth place spot is his. Needs at least a win, probably 2, since you're sitting at 2-5. But still very much in the running. So all these games are important these next 2 weeks. It's very tight to make it into the playoffs. So all the games still very much matter. I think the only team officially eliminated is HYG. But if a lot of teams lost, they could technically catch up. I'd have to look at the actual matchups though. Now looking at week 8, you can see what all the matchups are coming up. So we have Titan Gaming Mox going up against HYG, Velocity Gaming against Bomber Bros, Dogger Squad facing Goat Kings, Night Raid Owls up against Los Nomadas, the 2 bird teams in the emblems. Titans Wrath up against Ultra Lords, and Kraken Slayers against Stoner Nation. Got any thoughts of any of the matchups coming up, Tactic?
I think the Donger Squad Goat Kings matchup is going to be really good. I also think that the Night Raid Owls Los Nomados game would be really good.
Yeah, I think the new pickups Night Raid Owl just got make their team a little scarier, so will be interesting to see how they do against Los Nomadas, who have been playing very well this whole season. HYG has been struggling a little bit, but see if they can't pull one over on TGM as they're heading towards the end of the season. I agree, Donker Squad Goat Kings should be pretty hype. And then, of course, I'm against my good buddy Flame in the top lane for the Kraken Slayers Stoner Nation matchup. So I'm going to have to try to mitigate the man, the myth, the legend Flame in that top lane.
Put on your Fabby face, act like the gatekeeper, you know?
Exactly. I'm like, I'm not here to win. I'm just here to hold you back. We don't have a vote this week on which matchup was gonna get streamed, so it's still TBD. I think we're looking at either which matchup will be the most hype, or just trying to get some of the teams that weren't streamed as much. So gotta decide exactly who we want to stream for this week. But once we know, we will let people know and expect games to get streamed on Sunday live. Flame versus the 1v9 Tower Gobbler Hailstorm. Yeah, this week might not be the split push week. It might be the mitigating week, but you never know. I could just pick out my split pushers and say it's fine. Flame ain't nothing. I got this.
Ooh. He said the words.
Come at me, bro. But we do have our predictions for this week, so we can check those out. Looking forward to it. Me too, buddy. We got this. For Titan Game Box versus HYG, got a lot of belief in Titan Game Box taking that series. HYG got to prove them wrong. for Velocity Bomba Bros. Actually, had 100% voting for Bomba Bros. So just they don't think with the new changes Velocity's going to pull together, but you guys just got to show them you got that. Easy peasy. For Dogger Squad versus the Goat Kings. Very close to 50-50. It was a odd number of voters, so as close as you could get to 50-50, but slightly favoring the Goat Kings. I agree that one should be pretty close, and I think a pretty good matchup. One that, if it goes the way I think it will, would be fun to stream. NRO versus the Los Nomadas. Again, 100% belief in the Los Nomadas team, though people may not have known of the roster update. So we'll see if that change was strong enough from Kid Buu right before the deadline to get himself some more victories before playoffs.
Not Bobsy's got the draft already pre-planned. He's playing 5D chess. He's already got it. It's
Bopsy
fine.
just too strong. She
He is too
Nation,
strong.
if anybody voted for Titan's Wrath and need to get drug tested, oh man, let's see the votes as Titan's Wrath versus Ultra Lords. 100% once again. Everyone believing in Ultra Lords. Just a 100%. My goodness. People just saying, hey, these teams are pretty good. But you never know with the tipsy drafts coming out from Titan's Wrath. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you just never know what curveball they might throw you. If they take enough shots of Jaeger, you just don't know.
The real trick is they just need to get the other team to take shots with them, and then they're used to it, so it'll make them even stronger. So maybe they'll figure out how to do that against Ultra Lords. And then the final prediction: Kraken Slayers versus Stoner Nation. Actually, a lot farther in our favor than I thought it was going to be, but people believing in the don't call it a comeback story for Kraken Slayers. We're 3-0 right now on our win streak, so hoping to take it to 4-0 as we scale up into playoffs. So watch out, Flame. We've got the people behind us.
The people's champion.
But yeah, with that covers everything for the Seer. Thank you all for watching. Final time, if you've got any primes or want to throw us a sub our way, we would appreciate it and love you for 30 days. If you want to get any of the merch, check the banners down below. And if you haven't seen any of the games streamed or just have missed some, check out the VODs, check out the YouTube, and we appreciate you. Everyone, have a good night.